Welcome to the Pint Glass Football Podcast.
What's up, PGF Nation? We are back with another betting preview episode. We are going to cover each of our favorite bets in the NFL and college football this weekend. I'm your host, Brad Fowler. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Alex Higdon. Alex, what is going on?
Brad, I guess probably the biggest story going into the week, even though it may not be big for the NFL as a whole, but Shedeur Sanders will be getting his first start coming up this weekend.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. You got a bet on that game? You like the Browns, or what do you think?
No, that's actually part of that. That's one of my bets is I'm taking the Browns +4 over the Raiders. And yes, the Raiders are my team, and I'm betting against them.
Yeah, I can't blame you because that Cleveland defense we know is for real. That game's in Vegas, so if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes me a little nervous is we know that Cleveland defense doesn't travel as well. So it's going to be interesting to see, but we talked about this, Alex, off air. That Raiders team looked like a team that gave up the other night. And I really didn't like the effort that I saw from that team against the Cowboys. The vibes around this Raiders team does not look good right now. So I think you're right to fade Vegas in this spot here because I think Cleveland, look, they're not a good team, but they do have a good defense. And they're a team that still plays with a lot of fight, even though they're not a very good team. And I don't see that same fight from the Raiders.
Yeah, you're not getting it at all. I mean, and even Pete Carroll, we don't have to dive into it. We could save that for the State of the Union address for the Raiders. But Pete Carroll coming off the halftime talking about we need to run the ball and everything starts with the run. When you went the whole first half with 28 passes and only 4 rushes didn't make any sense. He looked and sounded like a rookie coach who had no idea what was going on the field.
You said the Browns are getting 4?
The Browns are getting 4. Yeah. And Brad, let me ask you a question. What are you looking to see from Shedeur? Like, what do you expect?
You know, it's hard to know what to expect. I just want to see the ball come out on time. I want to see him make good decisions with the football and not hang on to the ball, not take those unnecessary sacks, get rid of the ball when you need to if you're under pressure, and just good decision making and trying to play on time, trying to play on rhythm. If we could see some of that from Shedeur, and I think we will. I think we will see a better game from him than the small sample size that we got when he came in the middle of the game. So I'm expecting a little bit of a bounce back here for Shedeur. I think he actually could have a nice game here. We know that Raiders defense isn't anything to be afraid of. So this is a spot here where you could come in indoors and play against a team that's spiraling and maybe get a little momentum here, show the coaches something.
The other reason I'm picking them, our best offensive lineman is still out. We have a second-year guy that's playing right tackle, and so it's not going to matter where Myles Garrett is. He's just going to wreak complete havoc. He's going to tee off.
That Raiders offensive line made the Cowboys defense look good. So that's telling for sure. I've got a game for you, Alex. How about I'm taking a big favorite here, which I normally don't, but I've got Seattle, and I'm going to lay the 13 points versus the Titans here. I know it's a big number, but Seattle is 8-2 against the spread this season. Bounce back spot for Darnold. I think this is a spot here after an ugly game against the Rams. I think he comes out and looks sharp against a bad Titans team, and I think this Seattle defense will be a nightmare for this rookie quarterback. They have been beating up on bad teams this year. I expect them to do the same in this one.
Brad, for my next game, it's going to be a shocker, but I'm taking the Texans and the 6 points against the Bills. The Texans are at home. They have the best. I don't care about the numbers. The Texans have the best defense in the league, and they score. And Davis Mills has been sufficient enough to do some things offensively that he can get 14 points, and I believe that they can hold the Bills to 13 points or less with that defense and how the Bills have been looking versus who they have played. They don't look like a well-oiled machine like they looked in previous years. James Cook, even though I have him on my fantasy team, so that's a fantasy alert, look and see if you can use somebody else because I don't think James Cook is going to get any yards here. I think he's going to be under 50 total yards and no touchdowns the way that this team plays defense. They're solid. They're sound. They're always in position to make the right play, and they tackle well. So I'm going to take the Texans +6 over the Bills.
Yeah, I think there's some value there because this Texans defense defense is for real. I think this is a game, like you said, where that defense can kind of drag this game into the mud, make it an ugly, low-scoring game, and hang around in this game. So 6 points, I think there's good value there for sure. I've got another big favorite. I'm going to take the Lions. I'm going to lay the 10 points versus the Giants. Lions have always seemed to bounce back after a tough loss against New York, this 29th ranked defense for the Giants. So I don't think they're going to have any trouble putting up points against the Giants. And the Lions are 22-8 against the spread after a loss. So this is a team that really bounces back big in these spots. I hate laying 10 points typically, but I don't think the Giants, especially with the backup quarterback and that defense, I just don't think they're built to hang around in a game like this against a really motivated Lions team.
That game is also at home, so they're going to be able to be on their fast track. But I will say, if there's a glimmer of hope in terms of the spread, if the Giants, who they have a really good front seven, it's just a matter of them being able to tee off between Dexter Lawrence, Thibodeau, and Brian Burns. If they can apply some pressure, because we saw what the Eagles did up the middle, and Dexter Lawrence is a guy that can cause that type of havoc. They can keep the game close. Doesn't mean they're going to win. We're talking about from a betting perspective here. They can keep the game within 13 points so that they can win with the spread. For my last one, Brad, give me the Panthers +7 over the Niners. I like the way that the Panthers have been. I like the way that the have been playing. Brock Purdy's back, obviously. We don't know who the 49ers really are right now with all the injuries that they have to deal with. All the wide receivers are basically still, I think Jawan Jennings is back and maybe Pearsall should be coming back. But I'm still going to take the Panthers +7 after the outing that I saw from them yesterday. They are Jekyll and Hyde at some times, so they're trying to figure out how to win. But the Niners, defensively, with the injuries they have on offense, I think the Panthers can sneak away with a win, but I'm going to take the Panthers +7.
Yeah, good value there, getting 7 for sure, because I think people are still undervaluing this Panthers team. This is a scrappy team. This is a competitive team. They are still right there in the mix to win the South. So I expect them to come in here and have a good effort. I love what I've seen from Bryce Young in recent weeks. So you're right. I think this is a game that could be a lot closer than people think. +7, that's a lot of points. So I like that bet a lot. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers, and I'm going to lay the 6.5 versus the Minnesota Vikings here. And for me, Alex, this spot, I just don't trust J.J. McCarthy versus this Packers defense. I know the Packers offense has been a little bit hot and cold, but that defense has been for real. This guy has been really turnover prone. I think they're going to heat him up, and he's going to be turnover prone again in this game, and especially off script. We've seen that's really where he struggles, and I think the Packers can beat him up, get him out of the pocket, and that's where he's prone to make those mistakes. Packers are a team that's getting healthier at wide receiver, so I expect them to look even better in the passing game in this one. So I'm going to take the Packers and lay the 6.5.
You know what? I think I might go in the opposite direction here, and it's only because the one thing that I know that's been consistent about the Packers is they play to the level of their competition. So although everything you said is correct, I think they're going to play down to the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy. And this game is going to be a lot closer. I think it'll be within a touchdown in the fourth quarter. And if the Vikings can hold on and Brian Flores and that defense can hold on, I think that I'll take the +6 in the Vikings.
All right, Alex, I got 2 more NFL games before we get to the college picks. I'm going to take the Colts +3.5 versus the Chiefs. This is a Chiefs team that I think at this point we all realize that they've regressed. Mahomes just hasn't been the same guy. Historically, he struggles against Lou Anarumo in his defense, going all the way back to his time at Cincinnati. Now you've got Lou over there with Indy. This defense is looking good. They've made some additions. Colts are coming off of a bye, so they've had extra time to prepare for the Chiefs here, and they're getting 3.5 points. I think that's a great spot, and there's some great value there for the Colts. Yeah,
Brad, I'm just until they're down, until they're officially out, I'm always going to ride with the Chiefs because they're they're desperate right now. They need to win these games to catch up. Chargers are going to fall back a little bit as we saw those injuries are catching up. So they're going to have an opportunity. They're going to have an opportunity here, and they can't play around.
All right, my last NFL pick, I'm going to take the Cardinals +2.5 at home versus the Jaguars. I think this is a little bit of a letdown spot for the Jaguars. Last week, Their defensive line just took over the ball game versus the worst offensive line in the league. Cardinals coming off of 2 blowout losses. Now they're a home dog. I just don't trust the Jags after a big blowout win. This team has been really up and down all year, and I think this is a Cardinals team that still has a lot of fight. Just getting a couple points at home, I think there's value there for the Jags coming all the way out west. So give me the Cardinals and the points here.
I'm probably going to go opposite there. With Marvin Harrison Jr. out, even though they've changed the quarterback, a weapon like that missing, I believe the other, can't pronounce the running back's last, DiClamirdo, I think his name is. He's also out. So this means this is just going to be the quarterback and the tight end for the most part. They play good defense, but offensively, I don't think they're going to have enough.
All right, Alex, let's get some college picks in here. What are some of your favorite college bets this weekend?
Florida over Tennessee in the Swamp. We know going all the way back to Peyton Manning and probably even before back to T. Martin that it doesn't work so well when Tennessee has to come to Florida, no matter where and I say that as a Florida Gator fan, no matter where we are in an up season or a down season, Tennessee just simply can't seem to beat us in the Swamp. So that's Florida money line over Tennessee. And I will go, as I have been consistent, I'm taking for the rest of the season, as I've said, any team over BYU. So I'm taking Cincinnati money line over BYU as well.
Yeah, the hatred for BYU, man, it continues here on PGF. But you know what? I think this is a good spot, though, to fade BYU. I like Cincinnati. I think they're a little bit undervalued. I like their quarterback, Brendan Sorsby. This is a spot where I think Cincinnati could actually pull the upset here outright. So I like that bet. Alex, I've got one college football bet. It's in the SEC. I'm going to take Kentucky plus 9.5 versus Vandy. Kentucky has won 3 straight. They've kind of turned their season around with a new starting quarterback. And Vandy, as good as they've been, they only have one SEC win this year by more than a touchdown. Vandy is out of the college football playoff race. Pavia, most likely out of the Heisman race. Kind of feels like a big letdown late in the year here. And Kentucky, like I said, is starting to play some good football. So plus 9.5, I think there's some real value there.
Lastly, for me, I always make one bet where it's, you shoot for the stars. And it's taking Syracuse plus 35.5 over Notre Dame. Take the 35.5 points. I don't think that Notre Dame's offense is going to light it up and they're going to, cover that 35.5. So I would take to Syracuse plus 35.5 over Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's a huge, huge number. Absolutely, for sure. Syracuse has been disappointing this year, but that is such a big number. I could definitely see a backdoor cover in that game for sure. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's betting preview. Hope you enjoyed it, PGF Nation. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. But once again, I'm Brad Fowler. He's Alex Higdon. This is Pint Glass Football, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Pint Glass Football Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter at PGF Podcast.